This video is about exponential functions, and if you notice that an exponential function is a line that is curved. So I thought it was important to compare a linear equation and an exponential equation and what they look like. For example, a linear equation has a graph with a straight line, where an exponential line or equation has a line that is curved. When it comes to the table of values, a linear line or the table of values will go up by addition. In this case, it's +2 each time. But an exponential table of values goes up by multiplication. In this case, you're timesing 2 each time to get the next value. So I want to compare the equations for a linear and an exponential line. For a linear, we know it as y equals mx plus b, but for exponential, it's going to look like f of x, which is just a fancy way of saying y equals a times b to the x power. Now it's important that we take a closer look at the equation for an exponential function and discuss each part thoroughly. First up is the f of x. Now that's just a fancy way of saying y equals. You could either write f of x or you could write y equals. You could do it interchangeably, it doesn't matter. The next variable we're going to talk about is the a, and the a is your y-intercept. I know when we're talking about the linear equation of y equals mx plus b, we tell you b is the y-intercept. Well, in exponential equations, the y-intercept is actually going to be the a. It's also the original amount. If you're not looking at a graph or in a word problem, it's going to come out as the original amount. Next is the b. Now the b is going to be your multiplying factor, okay? What you're multiplying each y by to get the next y. It's also called the ratio. Now, if your multiplying factor or ratio is 1 or more, that's considered an exponential growth. If your multiplying factor is less than 1, that's considered exponential decay. So let's look at a problem and create an equation together through a table of values. Well, the first thing I notice with our table of values is that we're given the input and the output. And I know the input is my x values and my output is my y values. All right, now that I know my x and y values, I'm going to look at the y values to see if it's going up by addition or multiplication. In this case, I'm noticing that it's most likely, or it's definitely 100% going by multiplication and not addition, because 3 plus 12 would be 9 and 12 plus 9 is not 48. Okay, so now we're going up by some multiplication factor, but we have to figure out what it is. If it's not obvious, the way to find the multiplication factor is through division and dividing the y values. In this case, you're going to take 3 and divide it by 0.75, and if you put that through a calculator, you'll get 4. If you do 12 divided by 3, you'll also get 4. If you do 48 divided by 12, you'll also get 4. So this gives us our multiplication factor, or the b in the problem. So if I write out my exponential equation, I've already found the b. Now I have to find the a, which is even easier. Remember, that's the y-intercept. In this case, the y-intercept is going to have the x value of 0. And in this case, we find that where it says 0, the y value is 3, so that's where it's going to pass on the x-axis. And therefore, I have my equation. All right, let's look at a different problem, this time with a graph. However, with a graph, you'll notice it still comes with coordinates, just like a table of values. And we're going to take these coordinates and we're going to put them into a table of values so it's a little easier, a little more organized, and a little more visual. Having it in a table of values, we could clearly see that it's not going up through it by addition, that it's actually going through multiplication by 2 in this case. So now we know our multiplying factor, and which is the b, and we need to find the a, or the y-intercept. Just look at where the x value is 0, and the y value tells you where it will land on the y-axis, giving you your y-intercept. So now we know our y-intercept is 1 and our multiplication factor is 2. We're ready to write our equation. So now we have the exponential formula, and we're just going to substitute the a and the b. We're going to substitute the a with the y-intercept, which is 1, and we're going to substitute the b with the multiplication factor, which is 2, and we rewrite the rest of the equation, and then we have our answer. It's your time to try. You're going to create an equation from a table of values and graph, but before you do so, you'll pause the video, you'll write your answers on paper, and unpause the video to reveal the answers. Well, hopefully you got the answers correct. If you did, throw on some music, have a dance party, and remember, the only time success comes before work is in the dictionary. This has been a Struggling Student production. If you liked the video, please press like below and subscribe to our channel.